Hi, my name is Esta Porter, and I live in Nelson, British Columbia. And many, many years ago, like in the 90s, I had discovered EMDR as my therapy partner, and I were discovering different modalities. We kind of took a lot of trainings, and at that point, in the early days, EMDR was not really quite developed. So to be really honest, I thought it was fluffy and I put it aside. And only to come back over 10 years ago and retake the training through the Institute, and that's Francine Shapiro's EMDR Institute, right? And realize that in the years that had followed, that the body of EMDR knowledge had been greatly enhanced. So, you know, Bessel van der Kolk would know. And, you know, he's like foremost in the neuroscience and the brain, how the brain works, and why EMDR actually has a lot of efficacy in treatment. You know, so I'd say Bessel's right. You know, he's really right about that. And, you know, if you don't have that in your toolbox, you're basically this is a little bit controversial, maybe what I'm saying, but I think that you're basically going to be treating a lot of symptoms, but EMDR addresses the cause. Fast forward to sort of now, this is maybe over 10 or so years later, can't even remember, Roy Kiesling, who used to be an Institute trainer, has actually taken the trainings far forward in terms of his approach. And the far forwardness is about how he outlines the processing continuum, meaning being able to process with people in little chunks or very big chunks of trauma memories, and giving the participants the knowledge about how to keep it safe and know how to do that. Second thing that he does in terms of what I consider to be really, really visionary is to use a belief-based system rather than a cognitive-based system, where trauma is stored in terms of what's happened to us in our neurological network. But then when we attack it from the belief system, like how do you believe about yourself because all this stuff happened to you, we gain entry into that system very easily and conveniently, and learn how to process almost anything that's gone wrong in our lives. Let's put it like this. My coaching experience with Roy is just amazing. Totally amazing. What a coach does is helps people who are taking the trainings learn how to do EMDR therapy. Okay? No, nobody who starts with this knows how. Okay, this is true. I didn't know how. People who are taking it now don't know how. And what we do as coaches is we really, really help you as participants learn how in a safe, underline the word safe, manner. So it's okay to not know, and you're not expected to know, but we kind of usher you start, middle, finish into the knowledge-based event. Okay, so he tells you about it. He shows tons of videos, and then we help you do it. And you get to ask a ton of questions. And we can say, oh yeah, I had those questions too. Whew. So as a coach, we are available for the post 10 hours of consultation, which are all included in the fee, by the way, which is fabulous. So we're available for people to sign up to work with us individually or in groups, depends upon how this all works out, to help, you know, after the training, to help learn it more and more and more. Because really, you know, in the training, we're asked to participate in, you know, demonstrations, we're asked to participate in, you know, our learnings with each other. There are dyads, two people practicing with each other. But really what happens, that's really great and everything, but really what happens is when you get out into real life and you're faced with a bunch of people, your clients, who come to you for EMDR, you know, it's like really a whole other set of issues and questions that you're going to have, that the coaches are there to support you. Now, in the back of your training manual, there's a bunch of pages with like lists and lists and lists of EMDR consulting coaches. People, you can contact any and all of us to do your 10 hours, which is great. I mean, you know, you could contact people in Florida if you wanted, or in British Columbia, or Toronto, or Vancouver. And one of the best reasons to take an EMDR training, specifically from Roy, is that therapists who do a lot of EMDR therapy don't burn out. Okay, now here's why. Because you get results. And for those of you who work with complex trauma, dissociation, DID, and all the rest of those heavy-duty things that we hold people for, when they get better, we don't have to hold it anymore. So they pass through it rather than getting stuck with it. So our work, we get to go, whoa, that's great. I am so looking forward to joining Roy again in Vancouver and anywhere else he'd like to send me on this planet, which would be great, to assist people in learning what I've been a therapist for 45 years. And actually the truth of the matter is I find, and you know, there are other trauma treatments that are good too, but I find that EMDR is one of the deepest, most pervasive healing modalities that I've ever run into. And I've taken a lot of them. You know, so I look forward to joining you there and meeting you and hanging out and helping.